The summer season in Europe is just around the corner, and although I'm stuck here in Melbourne this year in the cold, wintry weather with all my hoodies rugged up and things like that, I did have the chance to travel through Europe last year with arguably what is the world's best, or at least one of the world's best travel cameras, and that is the Fujifilm X100V. I wanted to share some of my experiences that I had traveling with the camera in Italy and Greece, as I spent around about a month there last year, and also share a lot of the photos I took and how I took them, including all of the recipes and presets that I used to capture these photos that you're seeing here. Unlike most of my travel trips in the past, this was the first time where I just traveled with my Fujifilm X100V. It really pained me because usually I travel with my Blackmagic 6K Pro, a couple of drones, lenses, all that type of stuff, but no, this year I just traveled to Europe with one camera. So if you're considering picking up a Fujifilm X100V or X100 Mark VI, which just came out that I reviewed not too long ago for traveling in the next couple of months or over the next year, whether you're going to Europe or any country or even just around your neighborhood, hopefully I can provide a little bit of insight of what that experience was like and some of my best recommendations after using the camera for almost 3 years now and going through tons of different recipes and all the joys that come with using a Fujifilm camera. So let me begin by sharing with you a couple of the accessories that I used with the X100V when I went over to Europe for a month. Now, I didn't use the camera completely on its own, as I feel like a couple of accessories really complement the experience of using the camera, and those include a thumb grip I have here on the top, a lens hood here on the front of the camera. I have a nice hand grip as well that just extenuates the hand grip on the X100V at the front. I find that the hand grip by itself is a really shallow grip, and it can be assuring to hold it, but not completely reassuring, I guess you could call it. These three components here are from YC Onion that I got recently. They're great. They perfectly color match the X100V and really look like a nice extension of the camera and just add to the overall ergonomics of the camera. The lens hood on the front does help a little bit with lens flares, but something that I really loved using with this camera over in Europe was using a 1/4 Pro Mist filter from Tiffin. It's just a very small, I think it's a 49mm filter that goes in the front that really just smooths out the highlights and adds a little bit of bloom on any kind of sharp spots when you are taking photos to make them more film emulation like, you could call it. I do have a peaked sign mini strap here on the side that I like just to put on my hand like this, strap it up, and that way I can lean over the edge and do whatever I want with it without having too much worry that it's going to fall off. Also, another amazing companion to use along with your X100V. As I mentioned, I traveled really light and I didn't want to bring my laptop or anything with me, so I just brought along my 11-inch 2018 iPad Pro. I just opened up Lightroom Mobile on the iPad and I've edited everything on the go using the iPad itself, and it really just made my whole experience quite lightweight. Now, I wanted to talk about some of the recipes that I used on the trip. I really only used two. Number one being what I call my custom KODAK recipe. Now, this is a bit more of an alteration of a KODAK recipe I found online, but I manipulated and adjusted, and I loved using this as a bit of a base layer to then add my Lightroom presets on top of. I shot JPEG all the time, and the second recipe that I used throughout the trip was a black and white recipe that I again designed from my Oppenheimer inspired shoot that I wanted to get some nice crispy black and white imagery that I was able to just shoot JPEG in and not have to do any edits afterwards. I find that the KODAK recipe has a very naturalistic yet nostalgic look. I really love how it renders the skies, especially when you're shooting on a day with limited cloud coverage. You get these nice deep blue skies, and when there isn't as much cloud coverage and it's really hot, particularly when I was traveling throughout the Greek islands, I found that the cloud coverage was a lot less compared to when I was in Italy, and because of that you get these really nice bright images and it doesn't look too overexposed, but it's a nice lighter blue shade in the sky that blends quite nicely with what you see on the ground. But before I share some cool experiences I had traveling with the X100V in Europe, here's a quick word from today's sponsor, Artlist. Now, I wouldn't be sharing a platform to you guys if I didn't like it myself, and in saying that, I've been using Artlist in all of my videos over the last 2 years, including sourcing some great music for the soundtrack of my upcoming short film, The Three Wise Men.
Boys, we've got a problem. We're leaving!
For the film, I wanted to find tracks that would suit my 90s inspired crime comedy aesthetic, that felt unique to the story I wanted to tell, and the built-in search tools in Artlist made it super easy for me to find the exact tracks I wanted, and the license even covers screening films at festivals. They have thousands of high quality songs and sound effects that you can license for very affordable prices for all of your projects, and you can start for free. You can use my link in the description below to get 2 months free on an annual subscription. There's lots of different plans to choose from, whether you're looking to use tracks for social or commercial work, whatever plan you need, they definitely have something crafted for you. So thanks again to Artlist for sponsoring this video and believing in me to represent your brand. I very much appreciate it, and I hope you guys go check them out. Now, another really cool highlight I wanted to share was that when I was traveling with my X100V, and it doesn't necessarily have to do anything with the camera, but for ages I've been seeing people on Instagram and other places traveling to famous movie locations, and I really wanted to take this trip as an opportunity to go out and recreate shots and photos from a particular set of movies that I've seen that are quite accessible when you do go overseas to Italy mainly. And those 2 locations included Lake Como, which is quite synonymous for films like James Bond, and also the main reason I went there, Star Wars: The Attack of the Clones. I really wanted to go see the particular villa where Anakin Skywalker and Padme resided, or where they shot the scenes in Naboo there, and it was such a great experience. I did a lot of research to figure out where this particular location was. Can't remember the exact name of the castle. I'll probably have to, actually, I'm gonna search that right now. Okay, the castle is called the Summer Palace, or the Summer Palace is in Lake Como, and it's called Villa del Balbianello. Balbianello. I'm not Italian, so I can't pronounce that properly, but that was one of the spots that I immediately took, and I wanted to replicate a photo straight away, which is what I did on the X100V. That's so busy when I was there. I recommend if you are going to go there, go in the earlier stages of the afternoon, or even in the morning, as before anyone else gets there, but that was a fun thing to do. Another location as well, I found another castle, I think was just around about an hour outside of Naples, which is an amazing residence where they filmed a lot of the Naboo palace scenes as well in Attack of the Clones, where you find Padme, as well as where they stormed the palace and everything. Actually, no, it wasn't Attack of the Clones, it was a Phantom Menace, that's right, Phantom Menace, where Padme resided in there. And again, these beautiful areas that I'm using with my X100V, took some photos of some famous locations where they shot there, so that was another highlight. And lastly, when I was in Venice as well, I managed to find a couple of the spots where they shot a few scenes from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, including the famous library where X marks the spot.
That doesn't look much like a library.
Looks like a converted church.
Fun fact that they actually shot the inside of the library in a completely different location, because at the time they had a Michelangelo museum when I went there, and it's not actually a library on the inside. It's actually just a famous church there, and it's quite empty on the inside, and also some other bridge spots throughout Venice as well, which is quite cool. So that's something fun to do if you're interested in photography and you don't know what to kind of go and visit. It might be worth going and find your own favorite film spots, but for me, those were mine, and it was good traveling with the X100V to take and replicate some of the photos that were there. So hopefully I've given you some inspiration on using the X100V or the X100 Mark VI over in Europe, or for whatever your travels might be. If you have any questions about the recipes, presets, or camera setup that I use, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, that pretty much wraps things up. Have a wonderful day, stay safe, and of course, do take care.